and welcome to NHL Chatroom to our loyal viewers. As always, we're live right now on Sportsnet's YouTube and Facebook channels. You know the drill by now. Get in the chat, tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe while you're here so you never miss one of our shows ever.
It's really important. Also, legal. Let's tell everyone that, let's lie. Let's just say it's a legal requirement that you have to subscribe.
You must press subscribe or else you will not be able to view.
It's like renewing your license.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Even in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Special shout out to Graham from Guildwood who's watching. He has watched every single one of our NHL chat rooms. So thank you so much to Graham and thanks. Yeah, he seems to be our most loyal viewer.
Wow. Well,
Yetso, I think we talked to Yetso last week. Says watching from Las Vegas. I think I remember that.
All right.
Pretty cool. We got Anthony Richard North from Battleford, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Just one of those great city names, Battleford.
Yeah. Sounds like they'd have a good hocky team. Jacob Hotch watching from Melbourne, Australia. It's probably 6 a.m. over there.
I have an Australian hockey book.
Oh my goodness! Of course you do.
I do.
Oh wow!
Reality Check, and it's about the Australian Ice Hockey League. I have a Melbourne Mustangs puck too, but it's trapped in the ice surfing studio, and I haven't been there since March because I don't know if you know this. There's a bit of a virus going around, but yeah.
Well, Jacob, that's so exciting. Maybe he knows a little thing about Melbourne's ice hockey team. Melbourne Mustangs, yeah, sorry. I know there's an Adelaide and Melbourne. I know there's a women's league there as well. I inquired about possibly playing there in my retirement phase, but...
Did you?
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool, right?
Of course. What a
I'd
story.
Probably decent in that league. Garrett Hall watching from California. Wow. Does anybody watch from any cool places that it's snowing? Because I saw in Thunder Bay it's currently snowing, so...
Oshawa.
Sorry.
It's not snowing, but I don't know. You got to wear a long sleeve shirt.
All right. Okay. But we're not here to be meteorologists or talk about the weather. So we are here to talk about what happened in sports in hockey this past week. And obviously the biggest news happened to be about the Toronto Maple Leafs landing Joe Thornton on a 1-year deal who left the San Jose Sharks. Big stuff. First of all, Steve, have you recovered from this?
No. It hasn't sunk in at all. The Leafs today released a bunch of wallpapers. I love people going, who is putting a Travis Boyd wallpaper on their phone? But
poor guy.
They put Wayne Simmons. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Jimmy Vesey. Oh, interesting. Joe Thornton. I'm like, no, that's still weird. That's still very weird.
I think it was the first time that Leafs Twitter ever actually agreed on something being a good deal for the Leafs. And, there's always those people that are like, oh, it was stupid, but I honestly couldn't find any bad press except the San Jose Sharks who were pretty sad about the whole thing. Will show their tweet after this. But look at this gem coming to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think you just can't go wrong with a future Hockey Hall of Famer joining any team on a 1-year deal, bringing that veteran experience, bringing the leadership that he has. And I know he's older, but I still think he's got a little bit left in the tank.
I just got to shout out our production staff for putting together a Joe Thornton highlight pack that's just goals. I think he scored 7 last year. But the guy, he's still a very capable playmaker. His role is going to change, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any illusions. Oh, this made me feel sad.
Oh, it did. I know, because they lost someone that's the heart and soul of your team, and there's really no other way to just express that devastation than a pretty sad tweet like this. So we feel for San Jose Sharks fans, but we're also a little bit happy as Leafs fans.
Yeah,
sorry.
Kinda. The most depressing tweet I saw there was a Leaf fan that said, "Don't worry, we'll take good care of him." And then a Sharks fan responded, "That's what you said last time." Which, Patrick Marleau, I forgot.
So we have a comment from Vampire Froggy that says, "Love that McDavid is 97 because he was born in 97, but Thornton is 97 because he was drafted in 97. Now, we thought that was pretty exciting as well, Vampire Froggy. So we actually have a fun throwback of things that were popular and happening in 1997. So here you are, folks, in case you need a blast from the past.
Biggest song, I'll Be Missing You. But, man, how many names ago was that? He was called Puff Daddy back then. Do you
know that song? Can you sing a little?
No.
Come on. Every step I take, every move I make.
Does anyone know who that Batman is?
I had to look it up. So anyone in the chat know which Batman that was?
It's the Nespresso guy. George Clooney.
He's downgraded. Now he's the Nespresso guy.
Nespresso guy. Tamagotchi.
I actually love Tamagotchis. Honestly, like, I still think I think I have a tweet from, like, the last year where I said that I miss my Tamagotchi because I literally would still use one if I could. They're so cool.
Did you name it?
I don't think so.
I did. I called it Harvey.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird. I was also like 9 and a weird 9-year-old.
True. Mitch Marner was 1 month old.
Month-old, and a legendary mixtape, Big Shiny Tunes 2. If you don't know and you're calling me old right now, I don't care. You're the one who is missing out.
Okay, Big Shiny Tunes was honestly legendary. I don't even know how many they had, but we got a question from Jesse Rubinoff. Says, best song on Big Shiny Tunes 2? I don't know who that is. I would say... I looked this up too because I expected people to quiz us on our music knowledge. Third Eye Blind, Semi-Charmed Life was on that album. Sugar Ray Fly, like, that's an amazing song.
That is a good one.
Matchbox 20, Push.
Also a good one. What was the song by Tea Party? I forget.
Ooh. Anyone in the chat know?
I forget what it was called. Or no, wait, I'm thinking of the song that was on the
2.
NHL 2001 soundtrack.
That's completely different. That's like 6 years apart.
Whatever. They're both really good. Wait.
Don't worry about it.
Did they teach you generation math?
I wasn't a math major at Dartmouth, okay?
Oh, geez. What were you even doing in 1997?
Oh, there's me in 1997. So my mom made this custom dress. You can't really see, but look in there. There's a bow. That's in my hair. It's not the Christmas tree. That's my brother, Jordan, who's 4 years older than me. Yeah, that's us looking real cute. That was 97.
Oh, heavens.
Pretty sure we went to see that.
Oh.
I don't look the exact same. Look at you.
I'm second from the right. I'm the one holding the, that's an action figure of Megabyte from Reboot. Goodness. And my buddy Andrew Franzak, I hope he's watching. He was holding
your own pajama moment.
I'm pajama boy. That's me on the left, my sister on the right, and my dad looking super stoked in the middle. He's probably thinking,
legendary photo.
It's like, kid, you're 8 years old. Get off my knee. You're too old.
So good. Wow. I wish look.
Wow. Haircut. I love that.
Oh, good. You look the same. You could be John Tavares.
So, I actually have a funny story about that. I don't know if we've ever told you.
Hurry up.
So, 2007, I was a seat filler at the 2007 NHL Awards.
Oh, boy.
Kelly Rudy just walks up to me and starts talking to me. I'm like a first-year Ryerson student. I'm like, what is the TV doing talking to me right now? And after about 30 seconds, he goes, "You're not him, are you?" And I go, "Not who?" And he goes, "John Tavares." He actually thought I was John Tavares. When I was 19, cool. I looked like him.
Oh, my goodness.
But
there it is. Wow. I'm stunned. Nobody's really ever done that except... this is quick. Oh man, we're getting off on a tangent. When I was in high school, people said I looked like the girl from Vampire Diaries, Nina Dobrev. I don't know if we can get this up another time, but she's like a TV person and she's Canadian and she's got Bulgarian heritage, which I do. So it was like kind of weird because I'm like, how many people are Bulgarian heritage and Canadian that are like similar age? And so we looked similar, me and the girl from Vampire Diaries. So I'm sure the producers are furiously looking her up right now to throw a photo in. Sorry, that was a tangent. Anyway, very niche. I don't know if anyone knows that, but Michael Desari says, "Wow, Steve hasn't changed a bit. Still playing with dolls."
Wow, hey, they are called figures, and they're worth a lot of money. How dare you?
Yeah. Anyway. We're excited about Joe Thornton joining, even if he was drafted in 1997 and things were much different back then. You know what? Time is irrelevant at this moment. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and sometimes I still think it's like May. So exciting.
I love that he's the last active player to score a goal at Maple Leaf Gardens.
That's a pretty cool fact.
And that was 2 years. No, I think that was his third season that he did that. He's been around a long time.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to see what he can still provide for a Leafs lineup, even if it's that veteran experience and, leadership and all the good things you need in a dressing room. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there was another Ontario team making moves past week, and obviously not as dramatic as acquiring Joe Thornton. But some may say the Ottawa Senators are on the rise. And I don't know if there's any Sens fans watching or Sens fans in general. But Eugene Melnyk said that they're going to win the Stanley Cup in 4 years. Within 4 years.
I mean, he says that. I feel like he says that once every 6 months. He's like, just you wait. And no one holds him to account at all that he's saying that a team that just finished 30th is going to win a cup within 4 years.
Right. So they finished 30th, 31st, and 30th over the past 3 seasons. But, okay, we can give them this. I think they've reinvigorated their roster a little bit this season, adding Matt Murray, and then they just got Dadonov up front, and they have got Branson on defense. So that's obviously huge. And they drafted 2 of the top 5 players in NHL draft this year. So obviously they have, young talent coming up in AHL and in college. But I don't think it's safe to say that they're going to be a cup champion in the next 4 years. I'll go out on a whim and say that. But you had a conversation with someone very close to the Sens that kind of showed us that maybe the Sens fans are getting a little carried away. Is that right?
Well, yeah. So we had Montreal Canadiens reporter, Sportsnet Montreal Canadiens reporter, Eric Engels on my podcast, the Steve Dangle podcast, named after me because I'm conceited. And we were talking about the Habs, the Leafs, and then he started talking about the Sens, who I thought were having a pretty good offseason, but he kind of changed my mind, and I want to see if you guys feel the same.
I'm hearing nonstop positive stuff about the Ottawa Senators. Look at what they did at the draft, and look at these players and this and that. Like, I watched the Ottawa Senators, and I saw that they traded away Jean-Gabriel Pageau and they lost Mark Borowiecki for nothing. I'm worried about Ottawa. I'm worried because they have some incredible young players that are coming. They have a couple that are already here, whether it's Tkachuk and Shabbat. If you don't have the proper insulation, if you don't have the proper guys around to show them how to be professionals and everything that entails, and it entails much more than just going out on the ice and playing and doing the things you're supposed to do as a player. We're talking about culture.
Okay, well, we have some comments already saying that Brett Moore here in the chat says Sens fan here, any team could win the cup within 4 years. Yeah, but that's not what we're asking, Brett Moore. Gaming Lucy says they're better now than before, but still a bottom 10 team. So I think we're kind of realizing, get a little carried away maybe.
Yeah, the conversation the extension of it was, okay, so Mark Borowiecki does that ridiculous Between Two Ferns interview with Eugene Melnyk. And, there's all sorts of things that, veterans need to teach the young guys about the league. And sometimes it's managing egos and sometimes it's managing your boss. Who is there to jump on grenades now for the Ottawa Senators? Mm-hmm. The only name that comes to mind for me is Eric Branson, and he just got there. Yeah. I'm not sure what vets are expected to do what on this team. Brady Tkachuk, I think, is going to be a star in this league. He arguably already is. He made it to the All-Star game. But you got to protect these guys. He's still only 20 years old? Mm-hmm. Got to protect them.
I think Dadonov was a steal for Ottawa. He's a 25-plus goal scorer the past 3 seasons with Florida, and he's 1 year removed from a 70-point season, but I don't think that he's that missing piece. I still think that there are some things that the Ottawa Senators need to add, and I don't know. They've been drafting well, but is that enough? It takes time to get those players developed to make an impact. But, I mean, Melnyk also said that they want 6,000 fans in the Canadian Tire Center next year, which is also a stretch in my opinion. Pandemic aside, not to be rude to Sens fans, because last week Sabres fans were all in my mentions. Oh boy, they took that one personally when we talked about Taylor Hall. Yeah, everyone loves us in Buffalo, but they were at bottom of the pack the Ottawa Senators, and I don't think that this offseason alone is going to push them over the barrier, unfortunately.
No, I mean, listen, the fact they got Tim Stützle for the pick that they got for Erik Karlsson should just insulate any Senators fans' feelings. You thought that pick was going to be 31st overall because the Sharks were going to win the cup, and it ended up being 3rd overall. So no matter how good or bad they are, that is the most ridiculous luck I think we saw all this past season.
Well, we'll continue to move across the country when we talk about the Canadian teams to Winnipeg. What is the latest on the Patrik Laine situation? Now, I feel like every time I log into Twitter, there's some sort of rumor surrounding potential trades and the Finnish forward being, unhappy in his situation. But now with teams being more strapped for cash with the flat salary cap, and I feel like a lot of teams have spent this offseason and there's not a lot of money left over, it's interesting to see where he might end up. But I did think the last comments with his agent saying it would probably be mutually beneficial for Laine and the Blue Jays, the Jets to part ways. So it's clear they want something to happen, I think, but what can actually happen with the teams with money left? And is there a landing place you can actually see him being?
Yeah, this just isn't the right market for any player. Like I was talking about Matt Barzal today. Like, buddy, you're not going to win that negotiation. No one has any money. And you're talking to Lou Lamoriello. With Patrik Laine, the Jets cannot win that trade. So, I want to play with Mark Scheifele or you can trade me. You just cannot, you can't buckle to that. And as for the Matthews versus Laine debate, it's over. Because they're talking about we would like a second line center and a defenseman who can play in your top 4. Can you imagine the Leafs are looking for a second line center and a top 4 defenseman for Austin Matthews? The outrage in that conversation. It's not fair value for Matthews. It's not for Laine either. I don't understand what this is. Surely they can salvage it. I'm glad he didn't salvage that beard, though.
No, goodness gracious, that is rough. Oh, yeah. That is the feeling a lot of Jets fans have, I think, when they talk about this situation with Laine. Smash the stick, shake your head. Oh, how many shots of him breaking twigs? Like, that's big money. Send me those twigs. I'll repair them. I need some sticks.
It was like $2,000 in sticks he broke in that one pack.
I know. So Fletcher Ewing in the chat says they can't afford to not have a scorer like him. We agree with that. But at this point, seems like they don't want to move forward with him. Luke McGrath says you don't get better by trading Patrik Laine. Well, I think I agree with that one. Joe R says the Laine situation is a mess. If he remains a Jet, it's going to be bad for both parties. You can't repair that mess now. So if we think about, all right, let's say he's on his way out, where could he end up? There was a couple teams in the rumors that were, having some sort of pull. I know there's 5 or 6 teams, but Florida was one that came up. He's close friends with Barkov. He's a top center, and maybe they could entice him to stay longer because Barkov's 2 years from being a UFA. Buffalo, can you imagine him and Taylor Hall signing long-term contracts? All the Buffalo fans, look, don't take it personal. It's just hockey, but that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Trying to get back on your friend list.
So Ailish, you played pro hockey. Is there something to the saying there's only one puck?
It's pretty true out there. I mean, I didn't get to touch it much from the bench, but there's definitely one. There's one puck, and you both can't be fighting over it.
Well, just because the idea that he's supposedly one of the biggest gripes he has is he wants to be playing with Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele shoots. Like he's a great goal scorer in this league. Like what? Wouldn't you rather be on a line with somebody else? Because at the end of the day, it's Laine who's got that like touch of God, ridiculous shot. I don't understand why the big hitch for him is playing with Mark Scheifele.
I don't know. Maybe I've played with players in consecutive teams from like junior to college and then beyond, and you definitely get a relationship with the player. You feel like you can know where they're going to be on the ice and stuff. But if it's going to benefit you to play somewhere where you can be a star, like you just got to break that off. Like, I don't know. I think there's some other teams like the Hurricanes, who is a young team, Aho and Svetch, that would be sweet for him to go there. But, the Hurricanes draft so well and they take all the good players. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there or somewhere like the Flyers or the Islanders. Those were the names that were like, circulating in terms of the last buzz of trade rumors, but it's hard. If I was a Jets fan, which I'm not, I would be frustrated with the situation. So we feel for you.
If I'm the Jets and I'm looking at the Flyers, I think Nolan Patrick and Morgan Frost, and then we can talk. But
all right.
That's tough.
Cool. Well, there are still a lot of free agents still available on the market, even though we've been kind of having this chaos. I think it's been 2 weeks of free agency. But as we were just mentioning I know, right? Time flies. With Patrik Laine, there's a lot of cap issues and lack of spending money. So not only for players that are currently on contracts, but players that are looking for contracts, we're finding a lot of difficulty, finding a team for them. Example, Mike Hoffman would be probably the top player still left. He had 29 goals and 30 assists in 69 games last season. Okay, where's he going to end up? There's 6 or 7 teams super interested, but is he going to end up taking a 1-year deal, kind of like Hall did, in order to, find himself in a position to get a longer contract? It's a situation for all of these players on the board where, and maybe not Corey Perry, but all of these players looking, they're looking for a longer term contract or something that they can prove themselves, and nobody has money at this moment to really link into somebody. So why are these UFAs still around, and where do you see some of them landing?
It's unbelievable. Like Hoffman averaging 28 goals, Duclair coming off an all-star season. But you know what? Every year, someone greatly outperforms their regular season expectations in the playoffs, and they get paid. Doesn't it say something about how little money there is out there that Perry is still available?
Exactly. A aging veteran, big name, like, why aren't the Leafs in on him? They love those.
Anybody, I know. If the Sens had any money, I would say that they'll be in on all of them. I still think Duclair ends up back there. A team that has been sneaky quiet after having a pretty outrageous 48 hours, I think, is Columbus. And I wonder if a bunch of guys end up there.
That'd be good. I mean, if you look at the teams, it's basically like who can afford anyone for 1, 2, 3 year deals, and it's a small list. But Duclair is an interesting situation after deciding to represent himself after not getting qualifying offer with the Sens, and he was an all-star last season, and he reached the 40-point mark for the second time in his career, and he definitely has a bright future ahead of him, and it's where are you going to land up and who's going to see that value. It's kind of similar with like Athanasiou. Now, he got traded to the Oilers midseason, but then he didn't really pan out. So it wasn't really the greatest move in terms of him finding a deal. And now he's floating around as a UFA as well. And I was excited to see him play with that speed he has. Like, I actually played against him when I played Boys AAA, and he is friggin' fast. And this was like 2006, and I remember playing, and I was a defense back then before I moved to forward because it was more fun. And he like blew by me on the wing, and I'm like, get me off the ice. Like, this guy is so good. And he's obviously just gotten faster and faster. In that trade this year to the Oilers, I mean, they gave up a little bit for him, and he didn't really pan out. So it's difficult to see where he's going to end up because of that. I think he only played 13 or so games with the Oilers when he joined, but that's another big name that maybe you take a leap of faith on him and he fits in with your team well. But there's 6 or 7 UFAs still on the board that surprised me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he was worth 2 second-round picks in Sam Gagner just a few months ago. It's crazy how quickly your plans change. I actually just so I'm bringing back Trade Tree videos. They're going to be here on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. And that trade happened February 24th. Mm-hmm. The season was paused March 12th. So he was an Oiler for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't even have a place to play. It's wild.
No. Sad. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. I think this stuff will continue to shake out over the next couple weeks, and we'll be bringing you all the newest moves and trades whenever they do happen, and we're excited to kind of see where these UFAs end up. But one thing we want to circle back from last week was we brought the information of Blackhawks captain Taves being pretty upset with the direction of the team, and that had just happened last week. And since then, things have escalated, and the team has sent out a statement to fans confirming that they are, in fact, rebuilding, which Taves was unaware of and was upset about. So it's kind of a similar situation to the New York Rangers a few years ago when they said, hey, we're in a rebuild. But, I mean, the Blackhawks have kind of just been in this rebuild quietly, not so quietly, just been a little bit underperforming technically, I guess, for the last couple of years. So here's their statement. They say what they had here. Oh, they're committed to developing young players and rebuilding their roster. Yep. They don't want to just get another window, but they want to get to the top of the summit and stay there. So the last time that they were good, they won 3 Stanley Cups between 2010 and 2015. So, that's a dynasty, sure. How do they get there? And if you're a veteran core, are you sticking around?
We had Chris Johnson on the podcast and, talking about
stop flexing the podcast.
I gotta. But, he was talking about the Blackhawks big 2 guys, staying there and being Blackhawks for life. Okay, fine, I get that. They're still in their early 30s. What's Duncan Keith still doing there? It's a $5 million cap hit, of which I think $2 million is owed per season. The last season's a joke. I think it's $1 million. He's 37, but he's still capable. And there's this isn't the Rangers doing what they did gracefully a few years ago. And, we're going to pull the chute on a team that's already actually pretty good. And we're going to try to rebuild them, and look at where they are now. Look at how well it's going for them. The Chicago Blackhawks, has anyone looked at who's in net?
Last week we had to guess who was in net, and I guessed Malcolm Subban, and we didn't even know who the other person was.
Colin Delia. They're spending less than $2 million on their goaltending tandem. There's no illusion that they're trying to win here. And I wonder how much longer are we going to do the Stan Bowman thing? Because make no mistake, what Jonathan Toews said was a direct shot at his general manager. Yeah. How could it not be? How could it be?
There's some tension there for sure. But he stated, I've spoken to our leadership. They understand now the direction we're going. It's okay, you can speak to them, but are they going to want to stick around and be a part of where the direction this team is going? It's difficult when you kind of pull the rug from underneath them and then ask for their trust back and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, we are rebuilding. We want you to be a part of it. Hope that's okay. I don't know if I'd be super pumped about that idea if I'm a Toews or a Kane, but they have been there their whole careers and they've created that dynasty. So how much longer are you willing to wait to get back on top?
Well, yeah, I will say this. One of Stan Bowman's favorite hobbies is calling Jarmo Kekalainen just for fun. And we talked about how the Columbus Blue Jackets have been quiet. A name that was in trade rumors that kind of went away, Joonas Korpisalo. And all of a sudden now we're cooking. That'd be interesting to see him in Chicago.
All right. Well, maybe a little tidbit you're throwing out there. We'll have to recircle, see if that is something that actually comes to fruition. But hopefully Blackhawks news can just die out a little bit. I feel for the fans. It's been a unfortunate couple of years, I guess.
Oh, guys. Just the world's tiniest violin. 3 cups in 6 years. Get out of my face.
Speaking of blasts from the past, we have a super fun topic for everybody on your favorite segment, Drop the Glove. So let's get going on that one. Boop, boop, boom.
Ooh, I like the sound effects. Very good. Very good.
That was me, not the producers.
Oh.
Wow, wow, wow.
I like that. You can tell.
So this has been a pretty fun rumor floating around that we wanted to bring, maybe put some juice behind it. Nathan MacKinnon teased these baby blue gloves. So those look pretty cool. Now, it had us thinking there's speculation there might be some Quebec Nordiques throwback jerseys this season. I don't know how people feel in the chat about those, but we want to kind of lead this question off. Do we like when teams do throwback jerseys, or is it salt in the wound? So get in there quickly and tell us your quick opinions, because we're going to get into this, because I think Steve and I disagree, like always.
Interesting. Well, I want to hear, while we're waiting for people to give their answers, can we see that picture of the jersey again?
Yeah. Throw that back up here.
I want to know why this is the picture. I don't even know who this person is in the photo, but it's not.
They don't want to give it to us.
Flattering the
producers,
the hands out.
Friends?
They don't want to give it to us.
No,
it's because I'm calling them out.
They're like,
I just think it's funny. What is this?
Oh, they closed it real quick, didn't you, Steph? Okay, who is that guy? Anyone in the chat know? You get bonus points if you know who that man is, because we don't.
I think it was Peter Stastny, but I'm really not sure.
Anyway, I'll go first. I am a huge fan of teams doing throwback threads. I think it's pretty cool for someone, obviously, that wasn't around during these times to kind of see the nostalgia of where the teams came from and to be a part of that journey, and obviously like kind of understand the roots of where a team maybe went through their tough years and then expanded or moved. Obviously, if I lived in that city, however, I probably wouldn't be too pumped about it. And then I think about the extra revenue, and the jerseys are so sick. I am a big fan of buying vintage jerseys, vintage t-shirts. And so personally, I enjoy that those are now coming back because it's sweet to rock like a Nordiques jersey. Oh, I might have a couple things to show our fans at home. This is a sweet Nordiques denim jacket.
Oh my God, you're a dad. I just discovered you're a dad.
Check it out. And then the front. Oh yeah. So
oh my God. Does
fan of that.
Does that jacket come with like a free pair of white sneakers with grass stains? Oh, oh my God.
Big fan of the Whalers. Look at this t-shirt. Who's in net, Steve? Do you know?
Sean Burke, I'm guessing.
The puck stops here. I don't know even who played for that team, but pretty sweet t-shirt when I'll pass down to my kids one day. Oh, wait. Another team that moved cities. Oh, yes.
Very nice.
You love this one. I wore this last week, but you probably couldn't tell because of the headroom on the screen. But I also acid washed this myself during quarantine because I was that bored. Anyway, obviously I'm super on board with teams having throwback jerseys, and I really hope that we get to see Quebec Nordiques whenever this season begins. But what are your thoughts, Steve?
Well, Ailish, I've been having fun on this show with you, but I just learned you're a bad person. I just learned that you're dancing on the graves of Quebec Nordiques fans and Hartford Whalers fans and Minnesota North Stars fans. The outrage that I saw this past season for the Carolina Hurricanes wearing a Hartford Whalers jersey against the Boston Bruins, dude, I get it. I get your feelings. I feel like we agree on this one for different reasons. You're being a good cop. You're just like, oh, this is nice. And this is a fun thing. And this looks cool. And that's great. I'm here to say, if you're from Hartford, Connecticut, if you're from Quebec City, Quebec, if you're from Minnesota, shut up, you have the Wild now. If you're from either of those cities that lost your team, it's not the Carolina Hurricanes' job to appease people in Hartford, Connecticut, and it's not the Colorado Avalanche's job to appease people in Quebec City, Quebec. It's their job to sell jerseys and make cool stuff. Yeah. They own that jersey. They own that design. It's really cool, and they're going to sell 1 million of them, and you're going to shut up and like it and maybe even give them some. But to say that it's in poor taste, what are you talking about?
You're so heated.
I'm heated because, listen, you're entitled to a lot of things in the world. You're not entitled to the Avalanche never wearing the Nordiques jersey ever again. That's ridiculous. I don't understand it. It's cool.
We got some chat comments here for you. Chahet says, no, Colorado should not wear Quebec's jersey. Bold statement. Trivia answer
was... Did that come with a crying emoji or what?
Maybe, I think. Put your emojis in the chat next time, people. Trivia answer was the man in the Nordiques jersey was Peter Stastny. Thank you so much. Hey, ding, ding, ding.
Got it.
Nailed it. Look at that. They had to go look it up on Getty or whatever. We have another comment. Yo Dap D007. Guys, pick some less confusing names. Yo Dap D007 for... Not a big fan of teams wearing sweaters from the cities they bailed on. Okay, so I understand that's the main argument against this. You bailed on this city, you ripped the soul from them, and now you're going to go rub it in their face in a new city. You know what? Grow up.
The only time I'll ever stick up is why I don't understand why some Coyotes fans are protective of the old Jets records. You weren't cheering for Nikolai Habibulin in the 90s when he was with the Jets. What do you care? Those belong to the city of Winnipeg. So that to me is a little bit different. But if the Coyotes want to wear a Jets jersey against the Jets, I'd be totally down for that. Can you imagine?
That'd be sweet.
If they were the retro WHA jerseys against, oh yeah.
Well, last week we did our vintage jersey ranking, which was really fun and got everyone in the chat fired up. But this is kind of a continuing conversation about that, like throwback jerseys, not necessarily from your previous franchise, but just like, a St. Pat's jersey for the Leafs and stuff. So I think we love knowing that is something that teams are still exploring. Michael Desari says it's a tribute to history in the chat. I agree. I think that's my main focus is like, think about these teams might just vanish from our imagination or we'll never remember that they existed. So if you have a cool t-shirt or a jacket, it's a way to be like, oh yeah, Quebec Nordiques, like that was where this team came from. I'm going to tell my son or your son, Leo, maybe one day he can be wearing a really cool like throwback shirt and he'll carry that tradition, right?
I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that.
So there we go. Maybe I win this and I convinced you that it's cool.
No, I'm still going to be better.
All right.
How about it? I'm still going to be a jerk.
Well, the chat is kind of undecided today. Pick a side, people. Pick a lane.
Pick a side. Pick a lane. I like that.
Oh, okay. Well, there hasn't been much in the world of sports for us to debate. So if you feel like you have ideas for Drop the Gloves, feel free to mention us, and because you always love chatting in our mentions anyway. So let us know what you want us to debate one week, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to have it be our topic. And
now that we're done with that, do you feel like getting on the bandwagon?
I feel like getting on the bandwagon.
Let's get on the bandwagon.
I hate these noises. I'm going to stop doing it. I'm so sorry.
No, I like them. I please clip them and just play them next week.
Like a radio station.
It's Tim and Sid, except it's just you.
God.
You're our soca horns.
Like when I accidentally logged off last week on the show and it was just you and you're like, guys, help, what do I do? That was an internet issue. Hopefully it won't ever happen again.
I forgot how my face worked. That was terrifying. Don't ever leave me again.
Okay, the bandwagon. So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
You may have missed it because most teams went without acknowledging it or mentioning it. But last weekend was girls hockey weekend. And as a player and advocate for women's sports, these things are important to bring into discussion. Even if this is NHL chat room, women's hockey is equally as important in my opinion. So I was impressed with the efforts of 3 teams specifically who did a good job at not just having a hashtag or, hey, let's throw some photos of women out there and say girls hockey weekend, but these teams actually did a good job. So it pains me to praise the Bruins, but they did actually have a virtual conference where they had Charlie McAvoy alongside a USA hockey player, a female. So it was really cool to see them share the screen because usually it's like, okay, let the women discuss this and let's like not have our players involved. So the Bruins and the Islanders both hosted virtual conferences with female hockey players, Olympians, college players, coaches, professional athletes. So as a female growing up playing hockey, it's really important to have accessible role models that you can like hear from and listen to their stories. So I thought that those 2 teams did an amazing job. And then the Nashville Predators as well, they invested over $500,000 over the next 2 years to developing girls hockey in their community as a part of the league's industry growth fund. So obviously that's a whopping amount of money. Like most teams will toss $20,000 and be like, hey, we're going to help girls get skates. And I think obviously $500,000 is almost unprecedented. So this money goes towards introducing girls to hockey, hosting training camps with real USA hockey coaches, providing equipment to girls, and then having tournaments in the local area so teams can come out and embrace the city and play hockey in Nashville. So I thought that was awesome. And seeing teams invest in the future of women's sports is really important. So that's my bandwagon. Those 3 teams did a really great job for girls hockey weekend. And the other teams basically just sent a tweet out. So be better. Thank you.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say kudos to you because when we were talking about this and how are we going to discuss this, you're like, no, I'm going to go in and research and make sure which teams are actually doing a good job. And you highlighted them. Good for you.
Well, it's easy for them to just say like, okay, it's a certain weekend. We just throw out a scheduled tweet on Twitter and say like, it's girls hockey weekend, support girls hockey. It's like, okay, what steps are you going to actually do to support the message that you're saying? It's just the same with, Black Lives Matter and issues that we've been sharing. It's like you can post something, but are you going to do something of relevance and make it a part of your team and your organization's mandate? So I thought those teams did a great job, and I look forward to seeing other teams do good jobs in the future.
Absolutely. Shall I move on to my bandwagon?
Go ahead. You can't top mine.
I can't, but I'll add on to yours because you were praising the Islanders. Well, actually, no, I'm taking away from yours. This is something the Islanders did poorly.
Okay.
On my bandwagon, I love the Devon Taves trade that no one seemed to have any interest in talking about.
Got swept under the rug.
For the Colorado Avalanche, got swept under the rug. So they made this funny trade where they gave Nikita Zadorov and Anton Lindholm to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Brandon Saad and Dennis Gilbert. Now, by giving up 2 second-round picks for Devon Taves, like, look at this highlight pack. What a player. To replace Nikita Zadorov, a guy who, you know, he's big, he's mean, he lays a bunch of hits, but he is not an analytical darling by any stretch of the imagination. To replace him with Devon Taves, who basically he's like the poster boy of heat map Twitter right now. To replace Nikita Zadorov with him, super underrated move. I'm on that bandwagon for sure.
All right. I think that one actually just got no press because everything else was going on at the same time, and Joe Thornton just took all the spotlight. But thank you for bringing that to our attention because we probably would have forgot that even happened.
Yeah. Well, and can I just say for all GMs, in particular Kyle Dubas, stop making moves after dinner.
Okay, the Joe Thornton one was at like 4:30.
That's early, like compared to what they've been doing. But like even who was the one they just did? Ilya Mikheyev. Why does everything have to be after dinner, Kyle? Knock it off. People have lives.
Time change. Isn't he in Russia?
Perhaps. No, that makes it worse.
I don't know.
That makes it more into the middle of the night.
No, it would have been the morning. It's like 12 hours. I was just in Russia.
Well, it depends what part of Russia.
Whatever. It's within 10 to 13 hour difference. It's a humongous country.
It's half the Earth.
It is half the
Now
Earth.
we're talking about time zones. Listen, good on Joe Sakic.
Yes. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Let's move on to Ailish's A-list and Steve's Dang It. But, we have a little twist this week. We're swapping because I'm heated and Steve has good things to say, which is usually the opposite. So instead of it being Steve's Dang It, it's Ailish's Dang It.
Uh-oh.
You better watch out.
Nope,
no,
and you should be mad. You should be mad at this.
I am going to be mad, and we're waiting for the sweet graphic to show up. There it is. I was just look at that. Okay. Let me just tell you how disgusting this is. As if we needed another reason to cancel Halloween this year. Enter friggin' Spirit Halloween, that dumb place that pops up every year and sells costumes. Okay, they're selling this hockey player costume complete with a jersey dress. Do you see that? That's a dress this girl is wearing. And knee-high socks, and like that's a deep V for a young girl. Like that's a bit weird. So I saw this trending on Twitter, and it really bothered me as someone who's played hockey for 20 years. I've never once worn a dress on the ice, so not sure where they got the inspiration to make a costume dress for young girls. It's like when they do woman doctor and like woman nurse or like stupid. They just make it. Why does it be woman? Can't you just be a hockey player or a doctor? So right. I saw this, and obviously it's weirdly sexualized and very gender stereotyped, and it bothered me, and I wanted to say that it's a dang it, and Spirit Halloween, be better. And if you have a daughter, put her in real hockey equipment, and you can still be tough and athletic and a competitor and a girl. You don't need to choose to be one or the other. So I will never shop at Spirit Halloween again.
Whoa, I'm sorry for laughing, but I wasn't laughing at the costume. I was laughing at you going, friggin' Spirit of Halloween.
Screw them.
I know. It's just, you were just searching for the words, and you're absolutely right. That's ridiculous. I'm excited for next year when we're talking about their girl zombie costume. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Let's be better. Well, so if you took Dang It's,
you get to be A-list this week.
Can I be A-list?
Know.
Okay.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but you can have it.
Steve's A-list. Sure. Do I get a fancy whoosh?
I hope so.
Do I get a whoosh?
Oh, look at that.
Whoosh.
Lending it to you.
Oh, and I get a trophy. You see that?
All right.
Hey, On my A-list, I have Easter Seals Ontario. You know, if you've been watching my stuff for a while, it's a charity that helps out kids with physical disabilities. My sister has cerebral palsy, and they helped out my family when I was younger. Every year, I play in the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic. It's a hockey tournament where we raise money for Easter Seals Ontario. There's me with Harrison Brown, a ringer from our team last year. I mean, him and Eric Lindros. So here's the deal. Even though we can't do the tournament this year, actually about a month ago we were, and we were having calls about how we're going to do it, how we're going to make it safe. When the cases started going back up, we had to make the really unfortunate decision not to hold the tournament anymore. But just because we can't play hockey doesn't mean that the kids at Easter Seals don't need the money. There's an outrageous amount of need. I was told, I think there was $1.1 million worth of special equipment requests just on the desk at Easter Seals head office. And that was a month ago. I can't imagine what it is now. So this year we're still raising money for Easter Seals Ontario. I believe we're going to put a link in the chat. If you can help me out, if you donated last year,
oh, look at that.
You contributed to this. We were the top fundraising team last year. Listen, I know we've all had a really hard year, but we raised over $100,000 last year just as a team. We raised nearly $500,000 as a tournament. Let's try to do it again. So if you can help out with anything, even if it's just $5 going towards Easter Seals Ontario, it's a cause that's near and dear to my heart. It's a very good one, and you'll be helping families in need.
That is so wonderful. Well, the producers have put the link in the chat, everybody. So if you can see it, take a look, see what you can donate. Obviously, the pandemic has put a strain on a lot of people, but there are people that need our help, and I would love to help share that with you, Steve. So glad you got a chance to share your message. And before we sign off, we want to say a congratulations and happy retirement to one of the best of all time, Doc Emrick. Called over 3,700 professional and Olympic hockey games, 22 Stanley Cup finals, 45 Game 7s, over 47 years in the business. So we have a little tribute video to Doc. So enjoy your retirement. Let's take a look.
Stanley Cup playoffs, 7th game. This is where it ends tonight. Right back ahead comes Seabrook with a shot. He scores! Drive by Girardi to save. Rebound. Score! Stefan in overtime. Ovechkin led it back across, and there's shot by Schmidt. Save made by Fleury. Scramble there in front. He makes another save, and still another save. And play is stopped. Parise is in all alone for the win. Score!
We have a lot of cameras, and we're going to need them. Bolton and Rupp, Carter and Bickle, Jansen and Trust. Buckets of adrenaline.
Scramble for it there. They poke away at it. Still it's loose. Poked out by Kovalchuk. They score! And Reed! It's over!
That was awesome. That got me fired up. I miss hockey.
He's just got that voice. I felt so childish. Everyone's saying these like emotional farewells to him, particularly Americans, because he was on a lot of American broadcasts. Up in Canada, we didn't get to experience him as much, except for in the video games. So everyone's got these amazing calls in their head, these historic calls, and all I can think of is waffle boarded. I don't know. He was great in the video games, though. I loved him.
Yeah. Well, we've lost a lot of people have retired and said, you know what, I'm done with this. So good timing. I mean, no one knows when the season's coming back. So go out on top, enjoy your retirement. And we're glad we could share that because he's one of the greatest, and it helps inspire, people to come up and follow in his footsteps, and people that are in broadcasting like us. We look up to those people, and he did a lot for the game of hockey. So all the best to the Doc, and then we'll, sign off here. I guess everybody, we'll see you next week live on Sportsnet. That is what okay, this is Nina Dobrev. Remember earlier do we look alike?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys, what do you think?
I see it. I definitely see it. Wow.
Hold on.
Well,
obviously I need to lose a few pounds and get into the Met Gala, but back in high school, everyone would say I look like Nina Dobrev all the time, and people on the street were like, "Are you the girl from Vampire Diaries?" So, anyway, I mean, it's no John Tavares, but it's pretty cool.
Listen, I looked like him when he played for the Gens, not when he was captain of the Leafs. It didn't mean as much.
Well, I guess. Anyway, that's enough for us tonight, folks. We'll see you next week live here on Sportsnet's YouTube and Facebook channels. And before you sign off, click subscribe so you never miss one of our shows. And stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.